Awesome. All right. Welcome, 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 everyone. I hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday. I'm just checking that is what the day is today. It is. So we'll give people another minute or two to kind of arrive. I know this time is often a little challenging, but I'll give everyone a few more minutes to get present. So while people kind of arrive in our little group, I always like to do a couple of updates and announcements as to where we're going, what's happening. So I suppose the one update is that our retreat is now full for next month, which is exciting. So that will be going off. I've got a few in-person classes while I'm in Cape Town. So there are 2 Tuesday evening classes. There are still a few spots available. So if you'd like to join me in person at the studio, you can still sign up for that. Then the Saturday morning hike at Constantia Neck for the 12th of March. I didn't realize that in Cape Town at 6 o'clock, it's still dark. So we'll probably move the hiking time till about starting time till about 6:30, 7:45, so that we at least start when it is not dark. Here it is light at 5 o'clock, so I just assumed it's light everywhere at 5 o'clock at the moment, but clearly Cape Town is not the case, so we'll definitely have a later start there. And then again, first aid course, if anyone needs to do a refresher on Tuesday evening, there's still a spot or 2 available to join. And those seem to be all the main updates for yoga in the studio at the moment. You can always catch what I do on the Yoga Awakening Africa Facebook page. There's info there. Then for today, what we are going to be working with is yoga for traveling. So I have this brainwave that since I'm going to be flying on Thursday, I actually thought it might be quite nice to just have in our little kind of tool, our box of tricks, a yoga class that can be supportive for when we travel, so either before we travel or after we travel. And I thought I'd give a little bit of kind of Ayurvedic insight or background as to why we're going to be doing what practice we are doing. When we're traveling from A to B, we're obviously moving position, and movement is vata. And when there's movement, the vata element, the wind in ether, can get a little bit disrupted. If we're moving slowly, so if we're walking, it's a slower transition. If we're driving, it's a little bit faster. If we're going by train, it's usually a little faster. If we're going by air, flying, it's even faster. So depending on the mode of transport, depends on kind of like how much disruption there can be. So what we often want to do, especially if there is going to be a large period of travel, and there's a lot of sitting, stagnation happening, but there is movement all around us, is that we kind of want to counterbalance that. So for me, a lot of it is working nicely and deeply into hips and releasing the hips and opening up the hips. A lot of it is breathing deeply. So before traveling, making sure that the lungs are filled with good, clean air, and after traveling, just really releasing all that stagnation that has been built up from traveling and airplanes and aircons and airports, and if it is trains or buses, and again, a lot of different people around, getting rid of that. So the combination of kind of like finding the balance between movement and a feeling of being grounded and stable. So a lot of the postures I like to do very low to the ground, very grounding, very slow, but that are all also very releasing and opening. So that is kind of like the opening to our session this evening on yoga for travel and where we're going to be going and what we're going to be doing. All right, so now that we're all here, we're nicely present, I invite you to find any comfortable seated position that works for you right now. And remember that you just work with your body to the level and the capacity and the pace that feels comfortable for you. You can close your eyes if that feels right. And you're observing your breath. Noticing it as it flows in. Noticing it as it flows out. Maybe just take your awareness to a time when you have traveled, or if there is travel of any sort happening in the near future, maybe just taking your awareness to how you plan on traveling. And we've all traveled in some way, shape, or form. Just noticing or observing how you normally feel before you travel, and how you normally feel when you arrive at your destination. And then if you're working into the future, maybe just thinking about how you'd like to feel the next time you travel, before you travel, and how you'd actually like to feel when you arrive at your destination, and realizing that you can actually shift and change the feeling or sensation from any past experience. And maybe a little yoga session like this is something that will help and trigger and assist and support along making that shift. So take a moment to set an intention for today's session. And with that intention nicely set, bring the palms of your hands together, get the hands warm. Cup them over your eyes, take a deep breath in. And slowly out. Once more, deep breath in. And out. And then begin to blink your eyes, looking into the darkness, noticing the light as you move your hands away. And releasing. You can go straight into wrist circles today. Maybe just looking past the screen, maybe you're able to look out a window into nature or some greenery, or maybe you've got a beautiful picture hanging up on your wall. Just looking at something that makes you smile. Change the direction of your wrist circles. And when you're ready, you can bring your gaze back to the screen if you choose. If you want to happily gaze outdoors or wherever, you can still do so. Inhale as you reach the arms out to the sides. Interlock the fingers, and as you exhale, you need to lean over to the right. Inhale, bring yourself back to the center, and exhaling over to the left. So opening up into the side body, working laterally, and working into kind of the side body as well as twists are really nice to do. They're often difficult to work or practice when you're in a car or a plane because there's not much space. So that's why being able to kind of like take up as much space on your mats today as possible will be fantastic. So really allowing yourself to spread out and move in all directions of your mat. Once you've created or completed an equal amount to both sides, slip the hands behind your head. And from here, we're going to go into a little bit of a rotation. So you're going to rotate to the right on an exhalation, back to the center, rotating to the left, back to the center, and we're just continuing. The inhalations bring you to the center, The exhalations take you into a rotation. And again, we're not forcing, we're not straining, we're making sure that the body feels comfortable. Maybe just observing where there's a little bit of resistance or a little bit of tightness that we weren't expecting. And it is this dynamic movement that just helps to ease and soften. All right, back to the center, inhaling all the way up. Very, very slowly exhaling, releasing the arms out to the sides and down. So beautiful practice in yoga is Bhramari, the bee breath. We're going to be using it where we're tapping the thymus gland, where we're really going to activate the little soldiers in our system, so that they can kind of be awakened and be there to protect us when we travel and encounter a few little germs and things like that. So we're going to be doing 3 rounds. Remember that we tap on the exhalation and that we then pause on the inhalation. Just nice, gentle tapping. You can use the pads of the fingers, so you're not using kind of the nails. It's very gentle. If you prefer, you can even make very light fists and do that. All right, when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in and release. You're allowing that exhalation to be as long as you can comfortably make it. Round 2. Nice deep breath in, activating those, what they call the T cells. Once you've completed, just take a moment to observe how you feel. You may notice a little bit of tingling in the palms of your hands or your fingers. You may notice a bit of a vibration or an openness in the chest. And then when you're ready, release. If you're on a block, you may want to come off that for now. Give the legs a good shake. We're going to warm up into the hips. So to do that, we're going to wrap our right arm gently around the right leg, holding onto the foot. And we're going to circle this right hip. And we're going to just try and do kind of like inward circles with this right hip. So taking the leg from the out, in. And noticing how the hip feels as you work in this direction. A few more rounds. And then release, straightening and stretching that leg out. And then same thing on the other side, taking it into kind of like inward hip circles with this left leg. And feel that you can use your arms to facilitate the movement. So the leg's not actually doing it, the leg is just feeling heavy in your arm and your hand. See which side feels smooth and easy. If there's a side that feels a little tight, and releasing that leg. Cool. You can bring the soles of your feet together and you can flap the legs up and down for the knees. Oh, Melanie, I just recognized your name. You're on our teacher training course. This had a brainwave. I was trying to rack my mind. Okay, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There we go. All right, and then hold the posture for a moment. As you exhale, tilting forwards. And see if you can hold it. Ease into it. So the breath is moving in and out smoothly and easily. Super. Again, never any force, never any strain, working to your ability, your capability. Inhale back to the center. All right, now we get to start. Today we're going to be moving onto all fours straight away. If you do have a blanket or a towel or something handy, you may want to use it to rest your knees on, or even a second yoga mat or something like that. The reason why I like to do it is because otherwise my knees take a little bit of strain. And we're going to actually be on our knees for a while today. So I want to be completely comfortable, and I want you to be completely comfortable as well. So if it just means you need to pop to a cupboard and grab something quickly, you can go ahead and do that. You're not going to miss out too much, because we're going to just start with a comfortable cat stretch. All right, so the knees are underneath your hips. The hands are going to be underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. And when you're ready, you move with your breath. So on an inhalation, you can allow the chest to open up, gaze into the front of your mat. And as you exhale, you may want to tuck under your tailbone, rounding your spine, tucking under your chin. So allow your cat stretch to move to the rhythm of your breath. Make sure that you're beautifully grounded through your knees, your shins, and the top of your feet. So you're pressing down evenly through both legs. And the same with your hands. Just watch that you're not kind of like hanging back, but actually really actively press the palms of your hands down into the mat. Feel that the inner aspects of your elbows are facing each other, so that the arms are active and strong. So there's beautiful stability in where you are and how you're practicing. There we go. One last round. The inhalation brings us to neutral. The knees come a little closer together, warming up hips as well as working with expelling the breath. We take it into the expelling cat breath stretch, which means inhale, your right leg goes back. Exhale, forceful exhalation out through the mouth as your forehead and your knee move towards each other. We do that 3 times on the right side. So inhaling, leg goes back. Exhale. Twice more. And then 3 rounds with the left leg. Inhale, left leg goes back. Once more. And release. Take a moment to sit back on your heels if that feels all right for you. Often with a deep breath, that deep exhalation, it can make us feel a little, maybe not quite giddy, but it might make us definitely feel like we're a lot hotter, like there's a lot more heat being created within the body. Often it feels like, we just need a moment to settle everything again. So it is lovely to do, especially after traveling, that cat breath exhalation to release and get rid of, to empty. Let's get into our hips. We're going to again come back onto all fours. We're going to step our right foot through our hands and have it a comfortable distance forward, and feel that as you exhale, if it feels comfortable to exhale, you're going to lunge into it and adjust how much you need to, so that your knee doesn't go over your toes. If your knees goes over your ankle a little, it's absolutely fine. And you're going to allow yourself to open up into the groin without causing any strain or discomfort. And then you're just going to lean back a little, and you may want to lift your toes and then feel it through the calf, the back of the knee, your hamstring, depending on how tight you are, will depend on how far you're able to go back. And we're just going to rock back and forth, sinking forwards into the hips and then leaning back. So again, warming up into the hips and the groins nicely by using slow and gentle movements. So nothing is fast or forceful. And for those who've been with me for a while will know that, or they'll know what to expect. We're going to obviously be holding the posture for a moment. So the next time you're forward, you're going to stay in your lunge. You can bring your fingertips forward. You can come onto the fingertips and just feel that you can lift your chest and slide your shoulders away from your ears, opening up. 3 slow, easy breaths here. Adapt and adjust it so that it feels right for you. If you feel that it is uncomfortable, note what may need to happen. Maybe you need to engage the pelvic floor a little bit more, or lift the hips a little bit more and not drop so deeply into it. That is absolutely fine. Actually, it's probably quite good to do that. And then when you're ready, you're going to lean back a little. You can lift your hands back if you want. You can lift your toes as well. You're trying to keep the abdomen to the thighs. And you're breathing into the back of that right leg. Try and keep the neck long, an extension of the spine. Never force or strain. You don't want your body to feel uncomfortable here. There really is no goal. You're not going to get a gold medal if you get your buttocks all the way back and you stretch into like a half a split. We're just enjoying ourselves. Allowing the body to feel comfortable. Allowing it to enjoy the sensation of opening and releasing. Let's come back to the front again and sink into the lunge again. What's nice when we practice this a couple of times is that the body is getting used to the posture and the movements, and it's usually willing to go a little bit deeper, a little bit further. Feel that you can spread your toes and ground down through that right foot. This time we're going to tuck under the left toes. We're going to lift the knee and we're going to push back through that heel. So we're pressing back through the left leg and the heel. We're engaging the lower abdominals and we're pressing down through the right foot. If you've got 2 bricks, sometimes it's quite nice to actually have your hands in bricks. Otherwise you can always make fists, or you can be on your fingertips. Watch that you don't drop your head down, or that you're gazing up, that the neck is a lovely extension of the spine. So it's like a 2-way pull again, like moving from point A to point B, from your heel to the crown of your head. Feel that you can breathe along that full length. And that there's kind of stability, direction, and clarity. That we're not frazzling off to the sides or anything like that. We're perfectly stable and strong here. Releasing the knee back down. Let's lean back one last time. And we can flex that right foot. We're just going to hold it here. You can release your toes as well, the back toes. Let's see if that right hamstring, calf, backwards in the areas, allowing you to explore a little more deeply. Or maybe less deeply, maybe saying, hey, you're going a little bit too far today. Back off. And that's also absolutely fine. And release, bringing that right leg back. From here, lift up onto your knees. Take the knees just a little apart. Support your lower back with your hands. Allow your sternum to lift. And take a couple of breaths. Feeling a lightness in the chest, but stability and firmness down through the shins and your knees. Notice how your right thigh, your right hip feels compared to the left. And bring the head back to the center. And then we do exactly the same thing on the other side. So when you're ready, you can step your left leg forward. So you can bring the hands down to the mat. And we're going to move dynamically so that leg comes forwards. And then we lean back. Oh la la. So we're moving as deeply as our body feels comfortable with. Clearly, this was definitely the class that my body needed to do before flying to Cape Town. I'm glad that I am doing it and realizing that there maybe is a little bit of excess tightness in these legs. The large colon is the seat of vata, and the legs play a big role in vata as well. They're kind of like a secondary seat of vata, so vata being the air and ether element. And therefore, in my opinion, working with the hips to stabilize and kind of bring life and energy and a bit more balance to that is very, very helpful when you are traveling or about to travel. The next time you're forward, stay forward, hold it there. Allow yourself to sink into it here. Allow the chest to lift and open. Again, don't feel that you're dropping down into your lower back. There still needs to be a little bit of an engagement, even though you're opening up into your right groin. Rather get a feeling of opening by lifting the sternum than dropping willy-nilly into that right hip. Smooth, comfortable, steady breaths. All right, let's lean back a little. We might be here for a while, enjoying and breathing into the back of that leg. There we go. Smooth, slow, steady breaths. Yeah. And sometimes, usually, with yoga, we always say inhaling and exhaling out through the nose. You can use your Ujjayi breath. I find sometimes just making a sound, and just like a, where you really lengthen the exhalation, can actually be quite relaxing and therapeutic. So I don't use it a lot or often. I usually like to keep sounding breaths to a particular practice, but sometimes it actually just feels nice or right. So if you feel inclined to, and when you're in any posture, if you just feel that, I just need to sink, or my body really feels like it just wants to go a little bit deeper and I need to release the sound, use the sound to kind of release, then please, by all means, do so. Never hold it in. That goes for any bodily sounds, actually. When you're ready, sinking forwards again. Tucking under the toes, lifting up the back knee and working into it here. Nicoletta's been to enough of my classes with enough new people joining and knowing and hearing the sounds that bodies make when they are in a yoga class. So especially when you're at home and no one else is around, just let rip. So remember, you're grounding down through your left foot, you're pressing back through the right, crown of the head forward, heel back. Feeling the length, the stability, the focus and the clarity from one point to the other, without too much distraction moving from that awareness. The breath is still there. And when you're ready, you can release that knee to the mat again, release the foot and sink back. Oh, see how much nicer it is the second time around to do it and to hold it here, to breathe into it. So when we do postures, we can always go into them like a third, fourth, even a fifth time round and exploring how much deeper we're able to go and to enjoy. I'll leave that for you for your home practice tomorrow. Super. Another breath or two here. Inviting the body to let go. And then when you're ready, inhaling, coming up, sliding that foot, leg back again, knee back again. Maybe come back up onto the knees. And we're not going into like a full-on back bend here. We're just supporting the lower back with our hand. And we're opening up the chest. And noticing how that feels. Noticing how our legs feel. Great. Right. So one of the things that is always important to do kind of before flying, after flying, is turning the body upside down, working with a little bit of inversion. We're going to take it into a downward dog in a moment. What you can also always do if you don't feel like doing a downward dog is to rest with your legs on the couch or a bed, going into like a candle position. That's absolutely fantastic. Having the legs up is ideally kind of like what we're wanting to reverse the flow of energy and blood flow. So we're going to just start off for now with a downward facing dog. When you're ready, tuck under your toes. Inhale, open up your chest. As you exhale, you're pushing up and back into your downward dog. And if you feel you need to cycle the legs here for a moment, go ahead. Otherwise, just keeping the spine long. Relaxing into the head and the neck. That's it. Then we're going to take it into a very simple, comfortable Kapotanasana pigeon pose today. So when you're ready, sliding your right knee straight forward. So we're actually going to do the version where we need to keep the foot directly underneath us. So we're not going to angle it or anything like that. We're going to slide the left leg back. If you want, you can come up onto your fingertips and you can open up into your chest, sliding the shoulders back. You can close your eyes here and take a couple of smooth, easy, comfortable breaths. So nothing complicated. Adapt, adjust if you need to. Just where there's an opening. So again, what you may notice with Kapotanasana is that there's often a kind of a deep stretch into the groin, into the psoas area, and you're opening up into the large colon space. This time here, we're kind of like opening up through the descending colon. And that really does help to settle and balance vata a little, and giving space for excess air to move out, flow out. Come down through your hands, tuck under your back toes, push up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. Balance things out. Observe, enjoy. And then when you're ready, taking your left leg up and slowly swinging that one straight through. Keeping the knee even. Extending, sliding the right leg back. You come into the fingers, opening up the chest, rolling the shoulders back and down. Feeling comfortable in your Kapasana, your pigeon pose. And again, creating space and openness through, this time the right side a little. Noticing what's happening there. Breathing space and freedom into that ascending cobra. Notice how by taking your awareness to that space, you're automatically setting the air and ether in your physiology. I'm assuming that that's why we feel so grounded when we do postures like that, because it just brings the wind element within our bodies kind of down. Quieten things down, quieten things down. Tuck under the back toe again. Push up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Super. And release, bring the knees down to the mat. Move straight into Mandukasana, your frog. So the big knee, the big toes come together, the knees move apart. And you can fold forwards. If it is just that, you want to rest on your forearms, you can rest on your forearms. If you want to fold all the way down and just release and surrender down into the earth, you can do so. Again, whatever is appropriate for your body right now. Just adjust, adapt, stay there, and breathe easily and comfortably. Lovely. And then when you're ready, walk your hands towards you again, coming all the way up. If you want to lean back to drain the sinuses, you can do so. And then you are welcome to stay on your knees. Otherwise, you can sit in Dandasana with your legs straight out in front of you, or you can sit cross-legged. Again, it really doesn't matter. We're going to be going back into that little bit of a pranayama practice where we're tapping our chest, tapping that thymus gland. 3 rounds. Take a nice deep breath in. One last round. And again, release. Notice how you feel this time after the practice. You're just comparing to how it felt to before you've been working with the hips and the pelvis. Super. Right, and then I'd like us to do 2 more practices. These we're going to be doing lying down. So if you do like to have some support underneath your head, you can use your towel or a little pillow. We're going to come and lie on our backs. Always lovely to do a few rounds of Apanasana or something like that to allow the back to feel comfortable and to ease into position. So when you are settled, and I always love taking my time to make sure that I'm settled so that when I'm doing postures, I don't feel any discomfort or feel that like I need to shift a pillow or add something or move something. I like to kind of get myself comfortable and then get going. So really making sure that you are as comfortable as possible. Then do a few rounds of your energy freeing posture. And if there is nothing you do apart from your Apanasana after you've landed from a flight or arrived after a long drive, lie on the mat and do a few rounds, 10 rounds of Apanasana. Do at least that, if nothing else, because this will really make a difference because you're squeezing onto the lower abdomen, you're working into your hips very gently, and you're allowing your back to soften and ease. So if you don't have time to do a full yoga class or half an hour of yoga postures, please, 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 please do just this. Or even if you've been traveling and driving a lot from kind of work to home or around town or whatever the story is, when you get home, maybe just throw yourself, not quite throw yourself onto your mat, but go and gently lie on your mat and do just 10 Apanasanas and then carry on with your evening preps and whatever needs to happen. Taking just time to, again, settle that vata. And when you're ready, extend your legs up to the ceiling. The arms can be down by your side. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your throat is relaxed. There's beautiful stability in your legs. Feeling a little bit of warmth and fire in the abdomen. Enjoy it. If you feel you need to release, you just bend your knees to your chest and you extend them up again when you're ready. Again, there's no competition. We do want to allow the body to work a little, but we don't want to cause unnecessary strain. If you do feel that you're just pushing a little bit too far, allow yourself to release, especially those who are high in Pitta, the fire energy, fire element. Just make sure that you've really got nothing that you're competing against or with. It's just yourself. And rather make it enjoyable, especially in the evenings when we want to wind down and settle into the kapha time of day. And then when you're ready, hug your knees to your chest. And then the last posture, we're going to release into the reclined cobbler. The soles of the feet can come together, allow the knees to open. You can even place support under your thighs if you would like to. You can have the arms down by the sides, with the palms up. Or what is sometimes really nice after you've traveled is to stretch the arms straight back behind you. Sometimes even resting your hands on another rolled up yoga mat or a bolster or even just a pillow. Especially if you're in a hotel room, there are often loads of pillows around. You can always just rest the back of the hands and sometimes it's nice just to even interlock the fingers and rest the hands behind your head. So find a position for the arms or even a cactus arm position that you feel drawn to working with this evening. So it's always about experimenting, testing and trying. And what works today may not work tomorrow. You may find a more comfortable way of working tomorrow. So always, always, always be experimenting and trying. Once you've found something, then you allow yourself to settle into that and to breathe and to enjoy it. Allowing the hips to be open, the chest to be open, so the breath is able to move in and out without any difficulty. Sometimes if we feel that this position is just a little too vulnerable, a little bit too open, it can feel very comfortable to place the hands onto the lower abdomen in the mudra, with the thumbs touching and the index fingers touching, and just resting the hands there. And sometimes, especially if it's hot, it's really nice to allow kind of like our bodies to move, or our limbs to move and rest in kind of like a sense of openness and space where the heat can be dispersed. One last smooth breath here. And on an exhalation, squeeze the inner thighs together. Engage the abdominals by pressing the small of the back down into the mat, and lift the feet off the mat at the same time. As you bring them in towards you, wrap your arms around your legs, give them a good hug. Hold them here. And breathe. Slow, smooth, steady growth. Everything coming back into center line. Everything quietening down. Lovely. And from here, we're going to take ourselves into our yoga nidra, our relaxation practice. So if you want to put on any jerseys or blankets, anything like that, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to come a little closer to the screen so that you can hear me more clearly. But you're going to be lying on your mats in whichever way suits you tonight. And as you get yourself comfortable, you're going to allow your head to lower a little from side to side, just releasing any tension from the back of the neck. Then bring your head back to the center. Tight fists of your hands, reach your hands down towards your feet. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then as you exhale, relax and release. Soft arms, soft hands, relaxed fingers. Flex the feet, tighten the thighs, tighten the buttocks. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And as you exhale, relax and release. Soften the legs, soften the feet. Relax your buttocks. Inhale deeply and allow your belly to rise. And sigh the air out. And again, inhale deeply, allow your belly to rise. And sigh it out. Last time, inhale deeply, inhale fully, allow your whole body to expand. And then allow your whole body to gently relax and to soften. Now allow your natural breath to return. And take a moment to allow your physical body to relax and to release. So invite it to surrender, to release down into the support of the earth. You can invite your legs and your feet to relax. You can invite your hips and your pelvis to feel heavy and to release just a little bit more. You can invite your torso, your spine, your shoulders, whole back to relax and to release into the earth. Inviting the arms, the hands, and each of the fingers. They can let go as much as they want with each breath. And then allowing the back of your head, the skull, the face, to soften and to release. Your whole physical body surrendering down into the earth. Now as the physical body starts to let go of that tight hold, notice how the energetic body starts to shift and starts to feel free and light. How there's a sense of mobility, but structured mobility within you, where there's a feeling of expansion on the inhalations and a sense of contraction or a sense of returning to the midline or center line on the exhalations. Just continue to play with the sensation of the breath and the energy body as you inhale and exhale. Often when we travel, our mind gets overwhelmed. There's a lot of overwhelm and stress, which is that imbalanced state of vata, the air and ether. And a simple breathing practice where we feel the expansion on the inhalation and the contraction on the exhalation. And we focus on each breath in and each breath out. Helps to settle the mind, bring structure. Kind of forms a container for us again so that we feel held and supported. And if the mind wanders, notice, acknowledge it, smile. And when you're ready, just gently guide it back to the practice. Doing it in a loving way. Never being hard on yourself or forceful. Focusing on that breath. Sinking deeper and deeper into that stillness, deep, 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 deep within you. As you touch that beauty of stillness and bliss, a place of pure happiness, then allow yourself to return to the real world. So we start to breathe just a little more deeply again, where we notice the rise and the fall of the chest. We become more and more aware of our physical body as we release the practice. We allow the thumbs to move along our fingertips, waking up our hands. And we wiggle our toes, waking up our feet. When you're ready, you can stretch your arms out behind you. And you can yawn if you want to. You can stretch diagonally through the body, right arm and left leg, left arm and right leg. Arms one way, legs the other. Take a nice deep breath in. And then let it go. When you're ready, bring your knees to your chest. Give them a good squeeze. And you can rock a little from side to side if that feels right. Eventually, you just roll all the way onto your right side, staying there for a moment or two. And then when you're ready, you can place your left hand in front of your chest, pushing all the way up into a seated position. You can still keep your eyes closed as you do so. You can bring the palms of your hands into Anjali Mudra at your heart center. And take a moment to acknowledge 3 things that you're grateful for today, no matter how big or how small. And then when you're ready, bow your head, acknowledging the amazing, awesome human being that you are. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and you can lift your gaze again. Namaste. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening ahead or day ahead. And I'm so glad that you could join me and be here today. And hopefully this is one of those lessons that you'll be able to save and push play before traveling or after traveling to really work nicely into the hips. So great. Thank you for being here. Let me stop our recording.